This is the first time any of the actual intercept operators, the people who listen in and record phone calls on behalf of U.S. intelligence agencies, the first time any of them has come forward. Now, President Bush says they only listen to Americans if it involves al-Qaeda. These two say not true.
This is a satellite photo of the largest electronic spy operation in the world, a facility at Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia, run by the NSA, the super-secret National Security Agency. It is a place where two former intercept operators say Americans are being spied on during phone calls to and from the Middle East.
Personal phone calls of
American officers.
Of American officers, mostly in the green zone, calling home to the United States, talking to their spouses and sometimes their girlfriends, sometimes on the same days, sometimes one call following another. And co-workers of mine were ordered to transcribe these calls.
David Murphy Falk was a Navy Arab linguist assigned to the NSA facility at Fort Gordon until a year ago.
And when one of my co-workers went to a supervisor and said, "But sir, these are personal calls," the supervisor said my orders were to transcribe everything.
We were listening to Iraq.
Those were the same orders Arab linguist Adrienne Kinney says she got from her Army commanders at the same NSA facility from 2001 to 2003. Kinney says she listened to hundreds of Americans simply calling their families.
Americans in the Middle East calling home.
Oh, most definitely. Like personal, private things with Americans who are not in any way, shape, or form associated with anything to do with terrorism. It was just personal conversations that really nobody else should have been listening to.
And you were.
And we were.
But the law is very specific, and President Bush has reassured Americans again and again.
It's a phone call of a known Al-Qaeda suspect making a phone call into the United States.
I would say that is completely a lie. I would call it a lie because we were definitely listening to Americans who had nothing to do with terrorism.
Kinney says she intercepted, recorded, and transcribed conversations with the military, journalists, and Red Cross and aid workers.
Did you just pull the plug and say we shouldn't be listening to this?
I wish that I had, but I didn't.
And former intercept operator Folk says some highly private calls were passed around like office jokes.
And at times when I was told, "Hey, check this out. There's something real. There's some good phone sex, or there's some pillow talk. Pull up this call. It's really funny. You'd go check it out."
And you would listen.
It was there, stored the way you look at songs on your iPod.
That number would get passed around. If you listen to this call, you'll hear some phone sex. You'll hear some pillow talk.
Right.
And you did.
Yes, I did.
How do you feel about that?
I feel that it was something that people should not have been doing, including me.
In a book on the NSA to be published next week, investigative journalist James Bamford recounts the stories of the two former intercept operators turned whistleblowers.
This is the most secret operation in the U.S. government, and that we're doing this strictly for one purpose, and that one purpose is to catch terrorists. And what it turns out to be is for a more prurient reason, listening for the sake of listening and then laughing at what has been collected.
In a statement, a spokesman for the former head of the NSA, General Michael Hayden, now the head of the CIA, the spokesman says the NSA assiduously follows the law and that any suggestion General Hayden sanctioned or tolerated illegalities of any sort is ridiculous in its face.
Friday night, the world premiere video. Britney is back. 2020, Britney, Friday, 10/9 Central, ABC.